What is the secret US-Pak deal? Intensely interested in geopolitics, diplomacy and foreign affairs? Always trying to figure out a broad framework on which you can build your understanding and have a sense of direction as to where the world is headed? Relax, as there are no directions here in the world of geopolitics, just as we have no direction in the universe. So, for deciphering the enigma of global affairs, keep an eye on how countries navigate geopolitical challenges with adaptability and astuteness. This is the tale of the self-styled protector of the world in the name of democracy and a nation that is perpetually on sale to the highest bidder. Well, no prizes for guessing it right. It is the US and Pakistan. And just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder, you have been proven wrong yet again. So from the Cold War to the Gulf, the Afghan War and now the Russia-Ukraine War, the US-Pak alliance is back with a bang, but this time in stealth mode. Why in stealth mode? Because the first casualty in Pakistan is its democracy, brokered by the US via the IMF bailout. The loan allowed Pakistan's military to delay elections, intensify a harsh crackdown, and incarcerate an immensely popular former Prime Minister, Imran Khan. All will be forgiven, said a US diplomat, if a no-confidence vote against Pakistan PM Imran Khan occurs. So to protect democracy and free will of the Ukrainian people, the democracy and free will of the Pakistanis have been traded for a $3 billion IMF bailout of Pakistan. Now this was in complete contradiction to the publicly stated stand of the IMF that all borrowers need to demonstrate that they can finance repayment, and Pakistan is no exception to it. Well, if China uses debt trap diplomacy, the US uses the Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF and World Bank, as well as the dollar and trade sanctions as its form of diplomacy. Furthermore, Pakistan has now emerged as a supplier of arms to the Ukrainian military. Well, Ukraine's foreign minister traveled to Pakistan this July and publicly described it as focusing on trade, education and environmental issues. A Boeing C-17 from the British Royal Air Force made no less than 12 rotations during the month of August between the Pakistani airbase of Rawalpindi and Romania, the main transit country, along with Poland, for weapons delivered to Ukraine. Now, because the route came under media scrutiny and nobody wants to be seen publicly dealing with a rogue state like Pakistan, the Azerbaijani transport route is being used for the same now. Now, having ousted an immensely popular Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, it was incumbent upon the Pakistani army to seek some kind of legitimacy among the ordinary masses. So the terror attacks are back in Kashmir, with the Anantnag encounter lasting for over 100 hours. The fundamental questions that arise are, for how long can Pakistan play this game? With US bases back on Pakistani soil, what happens to China-Pak dynamics? Why is India silent on the political crisis in Pakistan? How should India react to the recent terror attack in Kashmir? Let's discuss all this. Dear viewers, I'm Lipakshi Khurana from StudyIQ IAS, and you are about to embark on a journey of learning like no other. So sit back, grab a pen and paper, and get ready to be inspired. Well, in April 2022, the Pakistani military, with encouragement of the US, helped organize a no-confidence vote to remove Prime Minister Imran Khan. This was revealed in a report by The Intercept, which was based on leaked classified documents. The report alleged that US officials held meetings with Pakistani military leaders prior to the no-confidence vote to discuss concerns regarding Khan's stance on the Russian invasion of Ukraine. These discussions highlighted worries about Khan's perceived lack of neutrality in the matter. The report also alleged that US officials threatened Pakistan with dire consequences if Khan remained in power. Following Khan's removal, Pakistan has become a valuable supporter of the US and its allies in the war, support that has been reciprocated with an IMF loan. This emergency funding enabled the new Pakistani government to avert an imminent economic catastrophe. It also allowed them to delay elections indefinitely, during which a nationwide crackdown on civil society was initiated, leading to the imprisonment of Khan. While Pakistan is recognized as a manufacturing center for essential munitions crucial for sustained warfare. Amid Ukraine's struggle with consistent shortages of munitions and hardware, reports from open source news have highlighted the use of Pakistani-produced shells and other ordnances by the Ukrainian military. However, neither the US nor Pakistan has officially acknowledged this engagement. The economic capital and positive political relations resulting from the arms sales significantly contributed to securing the IMF bailout. Sources familiar with the arrangement, along with a related document, confirm that the State Department agreed to inform the IMF about the undisclosed weapons deal. And to secure the loan, Pakistan was informed by the IMF that it needed to achieve specific financing and refinancing targets concerning its debt and foreign investment goals the country was finding difficult to achieve. The arms sales proved to be a lifeline as the proceeds from the munitions sold to Ukraine substantially helped bridge the gap. The acquisition of the loan alleviated economic pressure, granting the military government room to postpone elections, a crucial aspect in the wake of Khan's ousting. This also allowed for an intensification of the crackdown against Khan's supporters and other dissenters. Surprisingly, the US maintained relative silence regarding the extensive human rights violations, further raising concerns about the future of Pakistan's struggling democracy. Following the orchestration of Khan's removal, the military initiated a campaign to dismantle his political party, employing a series of targeted killings and mass detentions. Khan, presently incarcerated on grounds of mishandling a classified document, confronts around 150 additional charges, allegations widely seen as an excuse to prevent him from participating in the upcoming elections. Well, interestingly, at the onset of the Ukraine war, Pakistan found itself in a distinctly different geopolitical and economic situation. As the conflict erupted, the then Prime Minister Khan was en route to Moscow for a pre-scheduled bilateral meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, a move that stirred discontent among American officials. The US, meanwhile, continues to deny any interference in influencing Pakistani democracy, be it for Ukraine or any other purpose. According to the reports from the Pakistani publication Dawn, Army Chief General Asim Munir recently conveyed to a gathering of Pakistani businessmen that the nation could anticipate up to $100 billion in new investments from Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states. He hinted that there would be no further reliance on appeals to the IMF. There is scant evidence, however, indicating the Gulf nations' willingness to come to Pakistan's aid. During a visit to India for the G20 summit, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS, declared significant investments and economic collaborations. Despite optimism expressed in the Pakistani press regarding a potential visit by MBS to Pakistan, no such visit occurred, let alone any significant announcements of new investments. With no substantial foreign backing, Pakistan's beleaguered military regime found itself increasingly reliant on the IMF, the US, and the manufacturing of munitions for the Ukraine conflict to sustain itself through an ongoing crisis lacking any resolution in sight. So, for how long can Pakistan play this game? The US is a major ally of Pakistan, providing billions of dollars in military and economic aid over the years. China is Pakistan's closest neighbor and a major economic partner. However, the US and China are also rivals, and Pakistan is caught in the middle. The US is concerned about China's growing influence in Pakistan and the region. China is concerned about the US military presence in Pakistan and its support for India. Pakistan is trying to play a delicate balancing act, but it is becoming increasingly difficult. The US and China are pressuring Pakistan to choose sides, and it is becoming more difficult for Pakistan to maintain its neutrality. Surely, Pakistan cannot play this game for much longer. It is important to note that Pakistan is not the only country that is caught in the middle of the US-China rivalry. Other countries in the region, such as Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, are also trying to balance their relationships with the two superpowers. The US-China rivalry is a major geopolitical challenge of our time. With the US military bases back on Pakistani soil and China opening a diplomatic embassy in Afghanistan would have a significant impact on Pakistan and India, as well as the region as a whole. Well, for Pakistan, the return of US bases would be a sign of renewed US support and commitment to the country. However, the return of US bases would also be seen as a provocation by China. So friends, China has been investing heavily in Pakistan in recent years, and it sees Pakistan as a key strategic partner in the region. The return of US bases could be seen as a threat to China's interest in Pakistan and the region. For India, the return of US bases to Pakistan would be a cause for concern. The opening of Chinese diplomatic embassy in Afghanistan would also be a significant development. Well, China has been expanding its influence in Afghanistan in recent years, and the opening of an embassy would be a sign of China's growing commitment to the country. The opening of a Chinese embassy in Afghanistan would be a concern for both the US and India. Well, the US is concerned about China's growing influence in Afghanistan, and it sees China as a potential threat to its interest in the region. India is also concerned about China's growing influence in Afghanistan, and it sees China as a political ally of Pakistan. Now, these developments would likely lead to increased tensions between the US and China and between India and Pakistan. So, why is India's silence on the political crisis in Pakistan? Since the abrogation of Jammu and Kashmir's special status in August 2019, India has shown a greater degree of indifference towards Pakistan and is now broadly interested in maintaining limited contact with Islamabad. Well, there are four primary reasons for India's silence on the situation in Pakistan. First, an official reaction from New Delhi would allow Pakistan's military establishment and the political leadership to exploit the narrative of external intervention from its rival India to hide their own wrongdoings. Second, India has refrained from responding to domestic political crises in Pakistan unless they involved military coups or killing of prominent political figures. Thirdly, the current crisis in Pakistan may not pose any immediate security threats to India. The Pakistan army is simply flexing its muscles to systematically dismantle the Imran Khan project, which they created some years back and is now working on arranging a new political alternative for the next general elections. Fourth, policymakers in New Delhi do not foresee any major change in Islamabad's behavior towards India, which continues to remain hostile. So how should India react to the recent terror attack in Kashmir? Well, Pakistan treachery persisted beyond the Indian airstrikes on Balakot. Although infiltration of terrorists from POK may have reduced through certain traditional entry points, terrorists have discovered new pathways along the line of control. This new group of terrorists seems highly motivated and ready to die. It showcases the indoctrination these individuals undergo in Pakistan. Furthermore, security forces have revealed the discovery of weapon supplies left behind by the departing American troops in Afghanistan. The Pakistani terrorists were accountable for the tragic loss of 2 army officers and 1 police officer in the recent Kokarnag and Anantnag gunfight. These assailants are believed to be the same ones who attacked our soldiers on August 4th, leading to the martyrdom of 4 soldiers. For almost 2 years, the jihadi outfits have relocated their battleground to the higher regions of Pir Panchal on the valley side. They have established a strategic route along the Pir Panchal range and moved their operations to the western Pir Panchal slopes, targeting key towns and villages situated in elevated positions. This shift provides them with at least two advantages. Firstly, the terrain is predominantly mountainous and lacks motorable routes. Consequently, swift deployment of troops to counter their covert infiltration poses a considerable challenge. Secondly, the local population primarily speaks Pahari, the language also spoken by terrorists from POK who are coerced into aiding the terrorists. They exhibit greater trust in fellow Pahari speakers than in the Kashmiri-speaking population of the valley. Well, this is well documented that these terrorists, akin to Hill Kaka, have established concealed bases in dense forest like those in Surankot and Mendhar within the border district of Poonch. The army ultimately had to employ helicopter services for deployment. The civilian locals along this route are exceptionally susceptible to threats and intimidation from the jihadists due to their scattered habitation across the vast hilly terrain, usually devoid of clusters. Maintaining the faith of the migratory highland population of Gujars and Bakkarwals is key to eliminating terrorists in the hilly terrain. So, in conclusion, we can say that whether the Defense Ministry will take punitive action or not, only time will tell. However, there is an escalating anti-Pakistan sentiment in POK and the Gilgit-Baltistan region. The oppressed people have openly appealed to India for help. Now, it remains to be seen if India will extend moral, political and logistical support to the uprising in POK. We hope you found this episode as captivating as we did in creating it for you. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed. And don't forget to like, subscribe and follow. See you soon.